What even to say about this? So I want to talk about conspiracy theorist, right-winger, MAGA guy, Alex Jones, and how, as you're seeing on screen, he shaved his mustache. Podcast listeners, just picture the Hitler stash to look like Hitler. But he wants everyone to know that it's 4D chess. Because he's not Hitler, you're Hitler. I'm not Hitler, you're Hitler. Which, as I'm even saying that, I don't know, bad place to find yourself, screaming, I'm not Hitler, you're Hitler. And I'll show you what I mean by that. He's trying to make some bigger point about how the radical left are going to say that I went full Nazi, but really they're the Nazis, but I have the stash, but the stash is to prove that they'll clip it out of context. And this weird show he did with his stash and all of that. But this comes right after. And so I don't really know, Jane, how his headspace is doing, because it immediately follows this public breakdown he had over his now former co-host on Infowars, Owen Schroyer, who I called Alex Schroyer about 10 times when we originally covered this. I do apologize for that. I went back and watched that video. I was like, why do I keep saying he's Alex Schroyer? With a lot of emphasis, too. It's a bizarre little cognitive episode of mine, but he got very upset because Owen Schroyer left and was saying that he wasn't getting paid enough and that Alex Jones was censoring him. So just to remind you, kind of, if we think he's in a stable place, this might add a little context. I don't think the Hitler saga, he's not Hitler, we're Hitler. I know, Alex, I'm not misrepresenting your argument. It's probably not coming from the most stable of places.
Want to be elitist, arrogant scumbags. I'm not arrogant. I'm on a power trip. I'm in a total commitment against evil. I'm pouring out my guts, my soul, my family, everything I've got committed to this, and I will not have pieces of fucking shit lie about me and say I'm not true. I will fucking destroy you, scum.
All of you. So that's that one. And then he did, and hold this one in your mind because later it'll come back to be relevant. He also made this claim.
Interlocking into this information is very frightening. So, it must be done. So I will do it. I'll never watch another movie. I guess I have to become celibate because I can't get my energy up to sex. That's the biggest drain on me because I'm a man. Ding dongs.
What was that?
I never sucked any ding dongs.
Alex Jones says, I'm never going to have sex again. To which the women of the world, no! Dang it! The women of Austin, Texas. You're going to miss out on Alex. What will we do? So that's what just happened. And I think that maybe he saw our segment about it and felt insecure that he was unraveling a little bit, very performatively, the whole I'm having a transmission from the Lord and it's saying that I'm going to crush you pieces of shit. But it was genuinely upsetting to him, I think. And so he thought, how can I win back the trust of my audience to know that I'm the sane one between him and Owen? And he picked a Hitler stash. Now there's a kind of trend here, and I will show you his show where he explained his thought process. But you have a lot of these, and I know a lot of people do this, but it's kind of trying to set themselves up to be the victim. So he's trying to set up liberal headlines that say Alex Jones goes full Hitler, loves Hitler or something, so that he can go, can you believe it? They misrepresented me. I was trying to make this point. And here's the point he was trying to make. I'm officially joining the Democratic Party as of today. In celebration of their wonderful work, I have now adopted a hairstyle, which no one calls their facial hair a hairstyle, but okay. You don't have a hairstyle. Look at your head. But you do have a facial hairstyle that matches their policies. So he's saying, after we were just told, as I referenced when we originally saw this photo, we were just told it's dangerous to call your political opponents Nazis. And now he's saying the whole Democratic Party is a party of Nazis. Interesting logic, Alex. And let's check in on his, and there's a cat for some reason, on his explanation here. While we go through this segment, please do, if you appreciate the show, click the subscribe button. It is free. I'm getting a transmission. You have to subscribe.
All right, Sean Johnson's over here at my house. We were going to work out today, but I had a bunch of stuff going on. And right before he got here, as we were going to hike, I had a malfunction on my beard. I cut it, and so I had to cut it off. And then I left the mustache. He took a picture of that, and I said, should I keep it? And Sean's like, no, you look like a... So he goes, but what you ought to do is a joke. So we did it. And of course, all the liberals can dress up like Nazis and Hitler, and it's okay, and Charlie Chaplin can, but you watch. The corporate media will misrepresent and say Jones is now Hitler, even though I've been 100% clear from the start. Obviously, it's satire, and I've been comparing myself to their tyranny as if I'm Hitler. But it doesn't matter. That's why people hate them. That's why they have no viewers. But here's the guy that had the idea. So tell people the story.
Yeah, so I came to Alex's house today. We're going to go for a hike. And he was running 15 minutes late. I said, what's going on? He says, I had a beard shaving accident. I said, what do you mean you had a beard shaving accident? He said, you'll see when you get here. And I show up, and I got to show you this picture. This is so fucking funny.
Can you imagine, Jaden, if I started filming and we're saying, we were thinking of this really funny thing for the show today, and Jaden, will you explain it to them? He's heavily breathing and moving the camera around. So strange. So again, you know what this reminded me of? And then we'll go a little bit more in depth. This Steven Crowder clip where he's on Piers and he's talking about Kanye West's song that goes inward, Hail Hitler is the lyrics of the song. And Steven Crowder's like, I'm going to say the word. And then he says, it gets a bleep so you won't, it goes quiet. But whenever it mutes, he's saying the N-word, and then he goes, see, that's going to be cut out of context. See, the leftists are going to cut me out of context, and they're going to say that I'm a racist, and then they're going to say, because I said Hail Hitler, but I was really just quoting the song, that I'm actually an anti-Semite, but I'm not, but because I'm saying the song's bad. But that's what it's like. They haven't even done it yet. Can you wait for them to do it before you're mad about it? I haven't seen any mainstream outlets going, Alex Jones goes full Hitler. I haven't seen that, but he preemptively was making judgments about liberal media on something they haven't yet done. All the while, you're the one sporting a Hitler stash. Like, you're not owning us. You have the Hitler stash. In this case, it's like, you're the one who said the N-word. No one cut that out of context that I saw. And then you're preemptively making this justice point about how people misrepresent you. But you're just trying to alley-oop your own victimhood.
When we're talking about this new song, and as a comedian and as a linguist, I'm going to say the word here so that...
You're not a linguist. And I don't know if comedian's the right word either. As a comedian and a linguist and a poet, a novelist.
And as a comedian and as a linguist, I'm going to say the word here so that everybody knows, and that's what you're going to clip. We're looking at words that are offensive, a song that is offensive, but one is a boogeyman word. We have one noun, a verb, and a noun. Okay, we have a noun by itself, contextually. That's bad. Shouldn't say it, but it's not imbued with any power outside of historical context. The last noun, Hitler, is imbued with the power of the verb that precedes it. Hail, to praise, to venerate. That'll get clipped, even though I'm condemning the song as anti-Semitic, and not one person here who would be the victim of a more severe call to action is going to say it's anti-Semitic. I think we're in a silly point in this country when we're pulling this clip to condemn the anti-Semitism here at the studio, and people going, hey, can I get a second cut of that N-word, Hail Hitler? That's the point. It's not genuine. When we're talking...
I didn't get the point. I missed the point. And he starts winding himself up, and that's the part they're gonna clip. That's the part they're gonna freaking clip. It's not fair. No one has, dude. No one has. Good job. Yay! Yay, you got to say it. Woohoo! And then he posted, "Hey, Piers Morgan, I thought your show was called Uncensored. Care to explain why you felt the need to literally censor my words? See if you can catch it." And that's when it muted. But there's things you got to be careful on YouTube as a part of it. And it's just totally, that was so cringe and performative. The Independent had a headline, "Alex Jones raises eyebrows by growing Hitler mustache, then says it makes him more attractive to women." And they do clearly say, they don't misrepresent him, that it's a social experiment. What's the experiment? The 51-year-old says the mustache is a social experiment to show how people look on the surface of things instead of what the actual policies are. That had similar coherence to Steven Crowder going, "And then I said, Hail Hitler, Hail Hitler," and that's the part they clip. That's the point. That was his wording. What? And then similarly, social experiment to show how people look on the surface of things instead of what the actual policies are. On the surface of what? That you have a Hitler stash? Being a white guy, he says, that has German features, classical German features, and with a Hitler mustache, and it was very interesting, he remarked. "I could tell you it had a wild effect on women." But now think back to the clip I showed you before. I thought he was swearing off of women because he had to focus on fighting the deep state, and he had no time for sex. Jones said that while he does not support Hitler, he also doesn't believe the former Nazi leader was the worst totalitarian in history. "I may keep this for 6 months, actually, because I'm already the devil. I'm already Satan. I'm already all these things I never did. And also, I've never supported Hitler, and I oppose all forms of totalitarian systems. I don't think Hitler's the worst totalitarian in history. He's right up there in the top 3 or 4. There's all of these totally strange points being thrown around. He's not the worst, but top 3 for sure. Maybe top 4. I'm officially joined the Democratic Party, and then that part. And I don't think it went over as well as he thought. I think he's trying to do humor, clearly, but he always does this weird, I've noticed on his show, this weird caveating when he talks about Hitler, because he wants to make clear for a portion of his audience he's not pro-Hitler, but a lot of his audience really loves the guests like Fuentes who will praise Hitler. So he has to be like, "Hey, I don't support Hitler. He was really mean to a Christian nun once, so that's bad." He'll like word it in these really strange ways to justify why he doesn't like Hitler instead of like the reason. And he'll come up with these other options. "I didn't like that he was authoritarian and was very he was like a Democrat. That's what I didn't like." And then this,
you know, within an hour, it's going to be Jones goes full Nazi, endorses Hitler. Now, when all these comedians do it, it's great, and they do it in movies, it's fine. But they think you're stupid. They will misrepresent and say that I am now a National Socialist, National Socialist Workers' Party. That is absolutely not true.
You're talking with, this is actually scary. So a family member needs to help him. Who are you talking with? Who is in the room with you right now? Is the liberal media there with you? Who is saying the things? And they're going to say, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say Alex Jones isn't really handsome. You know what they're also going to say? That he doesn't actually get chicks. But do you know what? When I had this mustache, I was at a gas station and a chick said, "Wow, I like that mustache," which was a part of his argument. I guess he went to a gas station and it had a wild effect on women. I went to a gas station. I went in a grocery store this morning. It was spectacular. Being a white guy that has German features, classical German features, and with a Hitler mustache, it was very interesting. I could tell you it had a wild effect on women. I thought they were about to start throwing their panties at me. They're melting. Hey, Lex Luthor meets Adolf Hitler looks with blue eyes. They just didn't know what to do. Yeah, now you start sounding Nazi, but whatever. Wait, let me think of serial killers will get these letters. They'll get all these fan girls, I think is the usual example. There's notable examples of serial killers getting like all of these fans who want romantic relationships with them. And I see it similar here. Is that the population, the type of people you're trying to attract? Like maybe some women were hyped. Maybe some dudes were really into you all of a sudden. But I don't know if that's the clientele that is highest quality. Someone who's gonna be like, oh, would you keep that stash for me? Oh, that does something to me. Oh, wait. Ooh, does it just grow out like that? Tell me that's just genetic. Oh, gosh. Also, what kind of freaks don't just say Nazi and go National Socialist Workers Party? Did you hear him say that? I don't support the Nationalist Socialists at all. Listen.
And say that I am now a National Socialist, National Socialist Workers Party. That is absolute.
Hey, what if like every other American and person you just said Nazi? It's because he tries to make it a left-wing thing, which that was a branding exercise. Everyone understands that this wasn't like left-wing liberalism or something, but that's how he tries to brand it in a silly way. And then he reposted this video.
To foster and impart the required principles of leadership and tradition.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
You say more missiles? Are you building missiles?
So podcast listeners, right now he's doing a Nazi salute compilation.
Look, we have AOC, we have Pocahontas, we have them all making this hand gesture.
We've got the plan, they've got the fear, and we will not relent to that. We will not bow down to that. We will keep fighting for a better future.
Thank you, Massachusetts, for the great honor of serving as your senator. Thank you, guys.
For Roe v. Wade was enacted, because we're not going back. We're not going back.
Definitely taking it to a higher level. I'd say his support is about up there, right around here. And we're over here, somewhere up there.
And the left is so deceptive that if I make a Roman salute, and the Romans did this too, and then thousands of years later, Mussolini did this, and so Hitler kind of copied Mussolini in the uniforms and the goose stepping and all of it. And so that's the salute. But forevermore, that's the Nazi salute.
No one, I saw no one take a photo of that. I'm going to Control-Shift-3. I'm going to keep that for later. No one took a photo of that and said, Alex Jones unironically did the Nazi salute. But I guess he reposted a video of him previously having this weird, he's debating with a phantom. It's like an imaginary friend, but it's an imaginary enemy. And the funniest thing is the only time that there really was outrage was when Elon did his little thing twice aggressively, and people were concerned that it was maybe real. And Alex Jones, as you're about to hear, says he thought it might have been real. So then what is all of this about then? Because you agree with the only time no one said when AOC did it or Booker did it or Trump did the missile motion, he was like, a missile goes like this. No one actually unironically thought he was doing it. The only time was that people had those serious questions were about Elon's because of its unique technique. Okay? And he goes on to say he felt the same way about Elon. So what is this whole segment about? Just so that you can do it over and over? Okay, now we have this.
People will take that and say Jones is making Hitler salutes. No, I'm demonstrating it. Like if I say UT football is hook 'em horns, and that doesn't always mean you're worshiping the devil. Actually, it goes back to Italy as well. As you ward off the devil with it, it's the opposite of that. You actually study where that comes from. But my enemies, both on the fake left and fake right, will now take those images and they will say that I was Heiling Hitler and worshiping the devil. No, it's all the intention. I don't think Elon Musk is a secret Nazi. I don't think Trump is a secret Nazi. But at a certain point, the way Musk did it, where he snapped to and all the rest of it, and like Dr. Strange goes, "Mein Führer, I can walk." Like boom, hits his chest and then salutes. But it is a classic human salute. It's like when I've risen my fist before.
So even he said, well, when Elon did it, it was a little aggressive. Even you said that. Doesn't mean that he was trying to get the crowd chanting pro-Hitler things, but it was way more notable and concerning. And even he acknowledges that, but he does this whole thing where for 2 minutes straight, he has to hold out his arm, and he reposted that during this mustache thing, as if to set up this exact segment where we go, who is Alex talking to? There's this little audience of people pre-hating the left for misrepresenting you doing the salute. I saw no one posting that video without the context and saying, wow, he was just doing the salute over and over. I've seen no one showing Alex Jones with his stash and saying, wow, he started resembling Hitler because he loved him. And then he brings up the Trump video. Here was me originally covering that. Now, this is weird. He did this gesture for the missile, and someone said, all right, and screenshotted the gestures. You gotta be careful these days. That's what I've learned, okay? As podcast listeners, it's like making it look like he's doing the salute because his hand was doing it out there. And ever since this sucker...
I am become meme. Thank you.
I don't even high five anymore. After that, you got to be careful. If you're doing a missile, it has to be this. Right? I don't even put my hands like this anymore. I'm extra careful. I go, hi. And if I ever need to do my hands this way, I do like this. I do like this. Okay? I move them. Sorry, that was an accidental move. I was just trying to move them. You just got to be careful out there, guys. That's my advice. See, now that I accidentally did this, people are going to cut this out of context. They're going to say that I was grabbing somebody's breast. They're going to say I'm grabbing somebody's breast, but I wasn't. This is what the right does. It's so strange. Just in their own little world. No one's even talking about it. Oh, my goodness.